Finally got the battery kit on the trailer nailed down to where I feel like it'll fit my needs perfectly. Still using the same 300 amp hour battery. I'm just scuffed up from putting things on top of it here. I now have a Renogy 300 shunt as well as their 40 amp off-road outdoor style charger. I forget the model name of it, but it's meant to be in dust and moist environments. So the previous charger I was using died, I think because of maybe dust or maybe heat. Either way, this one's now 40 amp versus 30 amp. You can do solar and DC direct charging off the alternator, where I have my 50 amp Anderson connector here. It's a 40 amp charger, so it's perfect in terms of the limits here. I have it fused to 40 amps, so we'll see if it actually pops that fuse. It's asking for 50 amps, but I didn't like how hot the wires were getting, so I put a 40 amp fuse in. Hasn't blown yet. Not sure why Renogy was recommending a 50 amp fuse, but I know you got to go a little over. Either way, it's working great now. And probably going to get a bus bar. I just have 4 wires actually, 3 big ones and 1 little one running off that there. So probably going to get a bus, and yeah, definitely just screwed onto the wood there. Not bad though. I'm happy with it. It's heavy duty and ready for off-roading. I wanted to be able to highlight a little bit more about where I'm having the wires all ran. So DC connection right here, and this is temporary, but this is, I don't know how to plug this without sealing it up with resin. I want to be able to still run wires through here easily, and the dust is so fine that all I can do is really pack a rag in there. Whatever, I don't care if you like it or not. I just want to show the setup. So here's for the solar here. Whenever I have my portable panel, I can actually supplement it by unplugging these and splicing in my portable panel into here, so I can have 3 total panels versus the 2 that are currently on the ceiling. It's 2 150 watt panels. I thought about adding another one here, but these underperform. See how thin they are? There's no air underneath them to keep them cool. So they do make, of course they don't run at 100% efficiency, so it's a 150 panel, it probably makes 80 watts max, but I have never seen more than like 120 watts. It's weird, I unplug them individually, they both pull 80. You'd expect in series for it to be 160, but it's not. So most likely going to get a different style solar panel. And last thing about the battery charger, I actually have another unit here. So this is the other battery charger. And the reason why I have a second one here is because this stopped charging with the DC compatibility. It still pulls power from solar. So Renogy sent me another one. If this one blows up again, I am never buying Renogy chargers again. I had the previous model, which isn't meant for outdoor weather and inclement weather, even though it was completely sealed up, dry, and no dust, but I think maybe the heat got to it. My previous charger was pretty cool. Even though it was only 30 amp, this is 40 amp, I was able to charge solar and DC at the same time, prioritizing the power as much as possible, which I just thought was a pretty cool feature. Now this one in there is the same one as this one. This will only do 1 at a time, and it takes DC as the priority, which is the same setup that I have in the 4Runner. It'll do both, but one or the other, with DC being priority. The other charger has a button to switch it to solar priority, not this one, which is honestly fine with me, because if I'm driving, I would want this thing to charge as fast as possible, get the full 40 amps from my high output alternator, so it's really fine personally. And then once I park, unplug, then it switches to solar from that point, just keeping the batteries topped off. So if this charger fails me again, I will know for a fact that I just haven't been getting lemons. To be honest, the first unit that I got, I think, may have died from the heat. Although no clear signs on that. I sent it back to them and they said that there was nothing wrong with it. They gave me a full refund. Customer service was a nightmare, for starters, which is a big part of the reason why I'm not happy with Renogy. And it took 2 weeks of troubleshooting to convince them that the new slash different slash more hardy, tougher charger is also starting to do the same exact things. It wasn't charging with DC, but would charge with solar, both of them. So if I wire this new one up and it's still not working, then I will be moving on from battery chargers from Renogy here. So that's pretty much the solar DC setup for the trailer here. And I have had multiple days now with little to no charging, and as long as you're not running an AC unit, this battery will last 5 or 6 days with nice consistent draw. And that's no solar or anything like that. We camped in the trees and in the shade, and it lasted us a few days with still about 40% of the capacity left according to the shunt that's in here, which is also amazing because now you can get an actual percentage reading instead of looking at voltage. So when it comes to all the stuff that I've done for the trailer, I wouldn't do it any other way. I would still have the supplementary solar. I would have still done it with the DC connection. I would have still chosen 40 amps because that's plenty of charging capacity. That's like 600 watts of power if you're pulling full 40 amps. Yeah, when it comes to like the setup and everything, it was so easy to do it myself, source it, put it together, versus spending like $2,000 having the company do it for me from the manufacturer. So that's my battery setup for the trailer.